Panelists and great sponsors like DLA Piper continue to help pitch in as well. Actually, let's give a round of applause to DLA Piper. Contact at DLA, who's done a lot of these events for us here in San Francisco. With that, just to give you another very quick snapshot on TiE. So the way TiE is organized is the mentors that I was referring to is what we call charter members within the TiE community, and we've got about 270 charter members here in Silicon Valley, and it's a great list of folks who have done fantastic accomplishments in entrepreneurship. Folks like Prakash was here, there he is, Prakash Agarwal over there. Folks like Khosla, folks like Shantanu Narayan, who's the CEO of Adobe, and just a huge list of fantastic people who help give back a lot of what they've learned in entrepreneurship and technology executive management. And so that's what we're here to do. For this evening, I do want to hand it over to one of our great volunteers whose emails and so on you've received, Ankur Jain, who's with Nexus Venture Capital, and he's going to introduce the panel. He and his team of San Francisco volunteers put this event together, and I think you're going to enjoy it now. Just a couple of quick announcements before I hand it over to Ankur. Number one is, I mentioned TiE Angels very briefly. So TiE Angels is a network of angel investors. We get together once a month and look at companies. And so whoever these judges decide gave the best elevator pitch of the evening will be invited to come to one of our screening meetings with the possibility of getting funded by TiE Angels. We've been around only for about 2.5 years, but it's been an extremely active group. We've now done 20 investments in those 2.5 years, close to $7 million of initial funding plus follow-on and so on, and a couple $100 million worth of market cap that our companies have gone on to raise and succeeded at. So it's a very active group. If you are the winning company this evening, just make sure you see me before you leave. If for some reason we don't connect, Ankur knows how to get a hold of me, or you can just write down my email. It's prashant@tie.org. That's PRASHANT TIE, of course, .org. The other announcement was I also briefly mentioned this accelerator that we're going to be launching. So because of our deep history of mentorship, TiE has always been doing mentoring and helping entrepreneurs on a one-on-one basis. And with that, we decided that this was the right time and the right era, if you will, to do an accelerator focused around enterprise companies. So we'll be launching that a little bit later this year. It will include funding, up to $50,000 of funding, mentorship, and a lot of support behind the TiE ecosystem. So if you are doing anything in the enterprise side, B2B focused, and you want to learn more about that, again, just send me an email or come by and talk to me. In the meantime, let me hand it over to Ankur. Did I forget anything, by the way? I know you had listed stuff you wanted me to mention. Okay, good. And a round of applause for Ankur, please.
Thanks, Prashant. So, I'm Chair for TiE San Francisco. Welcome all of you for our event. We're doing a lot of activities in San Francisco. We have a monthly mentor session. We have a next one coming up on Thursday with Woody, who is founder CEO of a company called Bring It, a gaming company acquired by IGT last year. It's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs, especially gaming entrepreneurs, to spend some very personal time with a founder who's done this company before. You can sign up on our website, sv.tie.org, for this event. We have another event coming up in September 24th. It's by what I call parallel entrepreneur. His name is Rajesh Sethi. He's started 7 companies. He's actually not out with us today. Rajesh has started 7 companies. He's also a mentor at TiE Founders Institute. He's written 14 books. And how do you do all of that and still do it productively, do it in a way which is fulfilling, and you have the inner stability? So he's going to talk about that. It's going to be a workshop around just being a peaceful and a productive entrepreneur. So that's a wonderful opportunity. That is at Runway SF, which is on 8th and Market. It will be on our website in a week or so. So you're welcome to join us for that event. Again, thanks to DLA for hosting us this wonderful venue. And in terms of the event today, I think special thanks to Jinal and Ravi, who have been the key people in sort of putting together this event. And Jinal will be moderating today. Let me hand it over to Jinal. So thanks again.
Thanks, Ankur. So the first thing we're going to do for the event is introduce our awesome group of panelists, starting with Ankur Jain from Nexus Venture Partners, Richard Mordini from Javelin Venture Partners, Chris Gottschalk from Blumberg Capital, and Sunil Nagaraj from Bessemer Venture Partners. Before I go to the companies and the whole pitch event, can I request you guys to just introduce yourself, what type of companies you invest in, and just call it Moderator yourself.
Sure, I can start. I'm wearing my other hat now. So, Nexus Venture Partners, we manage about $600 million. We are a Series A stage investor, occasionally we do seed, occasionally Series B. We have about 50 portfolio companies, half of them based out of the US, half of them in India. And we have offices in both of those countries. Pretty broad in terms of sectors. And we like to typically be the first institutional institutional investor in a company. So look forward to the pitches.
Hey guys, I'm Richard. I'm with Javelin Venture Partners. We're a $100 million fund. Going to be launching a $125 million fund soon. We invest between $500,000 and $4 million. We like to do mainly Series A, a little bit of Series C. And we either like to be the first institution in, or we'll partner, or we'll kind of do anything, or we'll kind of do every sector except probably clean tech and healthcare. So,
Chris Gottschalk, Blumberg Capital. We're a classic early stage venture firm, really focused on leading seed and Series A deals. So we're writing checks anywhere from $500K to $2 or $3 million. It's what I call full tech stack investing. So everything from infrastructure, storage, enterprise SaaS to consumer facing, mobile commerce, etc. Investing out of our third fund now, $100 million fund.
Hey everyone, my name is Sunil Nagaraj. I'm with Bessemer Venture Partners. We're a $1.6 billion fund and have been around for quite a number of years. We were Series A investors in Yelp, Series A in Pinterest, first money into Skype, and then also investors in LinkedIn. My own personal focus is on earlier stage investments, and my last 5 investments have been teams of 3 to 5 people that were just getting started. Again, happy to be here tonight.
Thanks a lot, awesome group of panelists. So before we start, I'm going to explain the format of the event. We're going to have 4 minutes of elevator pitch. No demos, no presentation, just 4 minutes of explain what you guys do, why your company is awesome. After that, we're going to have 2 to 3 minutes of Q&A from our group of panelists, and 2 minutes of non-rebuttal feedback from either all of them. We'll play it by the time. We'll see how it goes, by feedback from the judges. Cool, so we're going to start. The first company we're going to invite is TotSpot. Can I have Vijay from TotSpot?
All right, first mover advantage. That's awesome. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. So I'm Vijay. I'm co-founder and CEO of TotSpot. TotSpot is an incredibly easy way for moms and dads to buy and sell pre-loved kids items. I don't know how many of you are parents here. Maybe show of hands if you're parents. Awesome. There's some of you. So for the benefit of those that are not parents, kids grow very quickly between the age of 0 to 8. And they're constantly outgrowing clothes. They lose interest in toys. That leaves parents with a buildup of toys and clothes in their playroom and wardrobe, right? So we've built an experience where it's extremely easy for a parent to be able to take pictures. We call it Instagram easy, to be able to list it within 30 seconds and bring to the platform things that are residing in your garage or in your wardrobe. On the consumption side, because we're a marketplace, there's the creation and consumption side. We talked about the parents that create digital aspect of the inventory. On the consumption side, we've built a mobile experience which is extremely which is discovery driven. It's serendipity when you actually bump into something that you really like, you want to buy for your kid. I wish there was a demo where I could actually walk you through the product itself, but we are a private beta right now. We have a significant uptake from our private beta. We went through moms clubs to distribute the app. Some of our early users, we have 56% of our early users are active users, and every other day they open the app, they browse, they discover stuff either within their neighborhood or wherever the items are. They're kind of hooked onto the app because these are real products. It is inspiration driven largely, but these are also real products that are being listed by real people, and they can actually buy them through the app. The process of buying is extremely simple as well. It's the way you pay when you get out of a sidecar, right? It's all through the app. So we are a team of 3 people. There is a mom, myself, and her, May. We were classmates at Wharton. We recently graduated. All 3 of us are engineers and parents as well. The third person in the team is Vikrant. Myself and Vikrant, we both have extensive experience in the mobile space, user experience, UI. Vikrant is from IIT Bombay. He's built a couple of consumer-facing websites and apps in the past. So that's where we are. It's actually a pretty large market. If you just, me as a parent, I spend about $1,000 a year on clothes and toys for each child. I have a couple of kids, so that's $2,000. And in the first 6 years, I spent about $12,000. And the irony being 20% of these items are in pristine condition. They're mint-like condition, things that could be sold, and you can actually recover some of the investment. So we're trying to bring this inventory to the market, and we're seeing very encouraging behavior where some of the parents that have these items are bringing newer items, things that they wouldn't be bringing on Craigslist or eBay, onto our platform. So that's ThoughtSpot. We're mighty pleased to be here, and look forward to the Q&A.
Thanks a lot. So, questions?
Can you give us a sense for the type of items that are posted on the site, and then who's responsible for shipping and packaging?
Certainly. So right now we have about 400 items that are on the site or on our app. It ranges from clothes to education toys to plush toys, and there's also a lot of baby gear, things like strollers, mobile, things that are used for transportation, baby carriers, strollers, and car seats, and so on. So the heavy items, we do not encourage parents to actually list them for shipping. The lighter ones with uniform size are definitely shippable. So for the most part, the heavy items are for local transaction. At this point in time, we're focusing purely on local transaction. So it's really pay to pick up. Every parent can basically run their own kids consignment store with the power of mobile, right? So it's like Shopify with every mother, where everything that, and we've had some of our moms say this, right? They actually discipline their kid by saying, look, if you're not going to play with this, I'm going to ThoughtSpot it. And they just take a picture, they list it. And it's pretty awesome that they do it.
Two quick questions.
Yeah.
First, if you're not clearing all products through yourself, especially the car seats and the baby carriers, how are you ensuring safety? And then second, ThreadUp and a few other folks have started Marketplace. What's your differentiation against some of the competitors?
A couple of things. So purely from a business model point of view, ThreadUp is an intermediary. They have their own inventory and warehousing. We are a peer-to-peer marketplace where we connect the buyer and the seller directly. We do not touch the goods. ThreadUp is only for clothes. They're an online consignment for clothes. We handle clothes, toys, and baby gear. And for certain products, we're local. And for certain products, we enable shipment. I forget your first question. How do you ensure safety? So car seats in the state of California, for example, we're not allowed to sell car seats peer-to-peer. So we've just gone out and told our users not to list car seats. For other products, we have established very clearly with our terms of service that we do not hold liability for any other products that exchange hands. We do not, so since we're very focused on the kids category, we do not allow foods or food or any of the clothing like diapers and things like that. That's one way to sort of control the quality.
Okay. And are you leveraging social graph in any way to understand how I may be connected to someone who's selling me hard goods for my child?
So there's a couple of ways we're building trust here. First is you got Facebook login, but it's we have a mixed story there. You know, some moms are actually logging in with Facebook and some others don't. So the Facebook or the social graph itself hasn't really worked in our favor. But once, you know, to be a buyer, you have to actually enter your credit card information. We do address verification. That's one form of sort of signaling to the seller that this person is actually a real person who's interested in buying. That kind of eliminates some of the friction that's involved with Craigslist, where there's creepy people, you know.
So I actually have a kid who 3 months ago, so I'm very intrigued in this and using this. But the thing that I was missing on the pitch is the real value proposition to the buyer. So I understand I'm going to have a lot of leftover clothes and I want someplace to dump it and get money in. But is it just the 20% savings? Because there's the questions about safety and whether it's, you know, how do you ensure that it's in mint condition, right?
Right. So there's a couple of things here, right? For the buyer, you're getting an awesome
versus Craigslist, as you said too, right? So, you know.
Right. You get the best bargain in the market, right? You get awesome deals. I mean, a lot of the items that have been listed, you can get a stroller for about $50, which retails at about $400. The other thing is, you know, on Craigslist, you gotta carry cash, and there is this awkward situation of having to run to the ATM and then having to haggle and negotiate with the seller.
But it does work very well for Craigslist.
It does. They have the network effect. They're huge and it's sort of well entrenched. So we have an uphill battle there. But there's a bunch of things, right? I mean, talk to your wife and see and observe how she does Pinterest and Vanilo and all these. We kind of built the same experience with Discovery, and I'll be happy to show you the app. Its browsing is extremely beautiful. It really is, and the way you engage with other moms, you can, you know, there's low-touch buttons like liking an item and engaging with the seller and things like that. And when you actually are interested in buying something, it's all through push notifications, so there's no emails and having to kind of, so push notification enable. We have hooked up a calendar, and so every mom can actually do a pickup time, and so all the negotiations happen within the app.
Awesome. So the next is feedback, starting from Sunil.
I think it's really interesting. I am really familiar with ThreadUp as well, and they originally were a direct connection where I would put my clothes into a box and send it. Right. So maybe you can talk with them and learn why they pivoted to becoming an intermediary where they're consignment hold inventory. I thought those features you mentioned at the end are really thoughtful. I think there's a lot of potential to rethink a lot of products with mobile only in mind, and so, you know, getting the calendar, integrating push instead of email would remove some of the issues that you mentioned about Craigslist. And then finally, I'm less concerned about Craigslist because I think the fact that you're going to hold payment lets you broker a lot of the mistrust in the marketplace, and you can add a reputation score, and that'll be invaluable. So I think it's really interesting. It's just learning what ThreadUp did here would be really helpful because they did pivot directly away from this.
Great.
Yeah, and just building on that, I think there's a huge market opportunity here, no doubt, but I think the key for you is explaining differentiation and scalability, and scalability more in terms of liquidity, how you're going to build both the buyer and the seller at the same rate of increase. That's very, very tough, and a lot of these folks who are building new marketplaces are struggling with that. So talking about customer acquisition on both sides would also be key.
Do I get a chance to?
So I would echo his comments. Really, you know, I think the one thing missing from the pitch is why the really value proposition to the buyer, besides the fact that they save, you know, said 20%. You know, there are definitely deep-pocketed, entrenched players like Amazon Mom. So if I was talking to my wife, it's that Amazon Mom is getting used constantly in our house. And some of the items, you know, a $10 or $20 onesie or something, right? 20% may not be that significant. When you brought up the stroller, a $400 stroller for $50, then I started thinking like, oh, you know, there's real discount here. Right. But creating the liquidity is going to be the difficulty because you could have a lot of supply or you could have a lot of buyers, and if you don't have a lot of buyers, people are going to post and they're going to say it never sells. So I think the stats you said, I think you said 56 people are active, 56% are active. Those are the things that are really going to turn on an investor's ears because they're going to know that, hey, this looks like it's starting to work.
The one, I think, really good thing I like about this is that your buyers and your sellers are the same population, so they'll be selling at the same time they'll be in the market for their next set of clothes, so which is, I think, is good loop. But I think the key question is around how do you build liquidity, which I think is interesting to see how you go about it.
Cool, thank you. Before you leave, so you mentioned 56% active users. Are these all moms, or do you see any dads active too?
We have couple of me and my co-founder were dads.
Cool.
No, there is a couple of dads, but mostly it's moms. We went through moms clubs.
Cool. Okay. Great. Thanks so much for that. The next company we have is Bridge Data. Can I invite Uzma?
Hello everyone, I'm Uzma Burlasker, co-founder of Bridge Data. Organizations today are producing more data than ever before. Walmart analyzes 1 million customer transactions every hour. A jet sends 10 terabytes of sensor signals every 30 minutes. And this is just the beginning. Data is the new currency of today's world. Mistakenly, some of us equate data with information, but the problem is data needs to be mined to generate insights, and those insights need to be accessible to all. So if you talk to companies today adopting big data, their biggest problems are access and resource. Unlike the Googles and Amazons of the world, not everybody can build a data science team to manage and analyze their big data. And this is where Bridge Data comes in. So we are a predictive analytics company that is building a software on top of big data built specifically for the business user. So you can ingest all your Twitter streams, all your Facebook data, all your sales transactions into your system, and we will analyze it for you through our software. We are a software on the cloud, so it's easy to use, anybody can access it. So the way we do it, the way we make it so easy to use for business users is because we power our analytics engine through machine learning. What we do is we just don't summarize data from the past, we provide you data that actually matters to you. So what that means is if you're an analyst looking at, so if you're an analyst from Coca-Cola, trying to understand which marketing channels matter for you. Is it your Facebook channel? Is it your in-store promotions? Is it your TV ads? You ingest all this data into the software and then analyze it and let the system do the heavy lifting, and you can figure out not just which channels were profitable in the past, but which channels should I invest in the future. Our team brings together a very diverse skill set. So we have Tigran Iskano, who was a Stanford postdoc working on computational topology. He was also one of the founding engineers at a big data company called IASD, where he built some of their graph analysis algorithms. He also has a PhD in math. We have Shiv Kumar Shivaji, who was analytics architect at a big data startup that's built on YouTube analytics. He also built classification systems for a company called CrowdScience that is built for ad targeting. He also has a PhD in computer science. And I'm Uzma Burlasker. I was a product manager managing ad tech products. I also cut my teeth as a software engineer building financial applications at a hedge fund called GE Shaw, and I have an MBA from Stanford. So all three of us bring together a very diverse skill set, bring together math, computer science, product design, and business to build a very compelling product for companies. We believe that the great businesses of tomorrow will be the ones that enable all their employees and to access data and generate insights from it. And we want to empower those businesses. So today we have a prototype. We have a few test customers who want to use our beta version. We are also looking for seed funding. And if you're interested in trying out our solution, please find me after the presentation. And I'm open for questions.
Thanks so much. Questions?
So you make it sound a very horizontal platform. At the same time, I see a lot of ad tech in your background and the use case you mentioned. So what are the verticals that you're focusing on?
So we want to make it a general solution. So we would like to build specific use cases that can apply to a lot of different verticals. So ad tech is one. We are also talking to healthcare. So we have one of our test customers is a Stanford medical researcher who wants to use our product for cancer research. So, but to your point, we want to make it a general solution. So the models that we build are very generic. So you can do cluster analysis, you can do correlations, you can build attribution analysis into and put it for whatever data set you want and do it using our system.
So I'd say, with big data, a lot of those solutions are on the market, right? So getting heard above the noise is very hard. So kind of what's your guys' strategy for actually selling, right? How are you getting intros to these companies? And how do you plan to move these companies from free pilots or very, very cheap pilots to getting in bed with you and spending a lot of money?
Yeah. So we've talked to a lot of customers. So the challenge is that a lot of companies say the same things, but they're not exactly doing what we do. one, these companies are not built for business users. They are built for either data scientists or somebody who has a technical expertise. We do different. We build it for the business user. The second thing that a lot of these companies do is they're just doing visualization or some kind of analytics. But what we do is predictive analytics. We actually use machine learning. So these two kind of features have been very powerful in our first meetings that we have with a lot of customers. So for example, ENC wants to understand which machines will fail first. So we want to predict, even before the machines fail, to understand from the past data, tell us which machines are going to fail so that we can react proactively instead of reactively. So our strategy for going after these different companies is basically to make it very easy to use the first version, trial version, and then basically making inroads through departments to get bigger licenses. So we want to make it very easy so that somebody can just push some data on the cloud, do some analysis, ad hoc analysis, and then after that they can see if they actually need a bigger license to use more data. So we're going to charge based on per data usage, so however much data you're uploading to our systems, and you get charged based on that.
And do you have a sense yet for what that price will be and what the willingness to pay is from some of the customers?
So far, we've not yet developed a pricing model. We are focused on the use case, more on the use case, but we do have some comparisons of what other people do. So we probably, build a solution based on that.
And the pilots you're doing are currently free pilots?
Yes, they're all free pilots.
Cool. So can we we have 2 minutes, so can we move on to feedback? Start it. You want to start?
So I think your team looks very interesting. I think you look like taking the right background. I'm not sure about the differentiation. I think there's a lot of, and I don't think you were able to bring it out clearly what the differentiation is. Because you have to attack very specific use cases and specific verticals for you to succeed in this market, but just because there's so many solutions and so many very horizontal solutions. I think that's something you have to, I think, flesh out better. And I think you have a good team, so I think you'll probably do that in the course of time.
I actually think that the big data space is very hard to get heard now because there are so many people. So you said even if they're doing things, if they're saying they're doing things but they're not doing it right, you have to punch through a bunch of salespeople who potentially have pre-existing relationships who are saying, oh, we can build that. We can build that with smart people on the backside to build it. There's a story here about the Silicon Valley in the 70s that when Oracle started, they weren't the best solution, but they had the best sales team. And everyone sees how that played out. So I think you should spend some serious time thinking about trying to find somebody who can really bust through those walls and actually get your product in front of people, so you can actually show the results rather than sell the results.
Yeah, to build on that, I think finding the killer use case, because as Ankur questioned you kind of right off the bat, it seems like a horizontal play, yet you went into ad tech attribution and social media. And so maybe those are your 2 killer use cases, and go after those hard, win that market, and then try to build horizontal. Because if you don't do that, I think you're going to have a tough time, finding and explaining that differentiation among a lot of the noise you see in the market.
I agree with everything. No addition.
Cool. Thanks so much. The next company we have is Forex Express. Jonathan Cooper.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Cooper. I'm the founder and CEO of Forex Express. We operate under the consumer brand wirecash.com, which we're positioning ourselves as the Expedia for money remittance. For consumers, we offer them a central location where they can compare brands, pricing, FX charges, distribution partners, and distribution types. And for the money remittance companies, we provide them a increment of revenue as well as brand exposure, and then we take all the risk off from them in terms of the fact that we provide them what's called a payment guarantee, a good funds model. What our mission and goals is approximately 99% of the company, hundreds of them, and about 80% of the market are money remittance companies that are unable to move online. And we're doing that now because of 3 things that we have that are our core competency, that is our expertise that's providing this barrier to them. Those 3 items are, first is the digital marketing. We already have, from operating another brand called ATM Cash, the search terms on all the different websites. We have already leading pages on Google organically. Second of all, we have the payment platform that they would need to operate. And most importantly, we have the fraud expertise. We've been building our fraud model, our risk decision engine for the last 8 years, and we believe we're the leaders in payment fraud. We operate as ATM Cash, and we provided money remittance to over 100 countries and moved $5 million in doing tens of thousands of transactions. Our fraud rate from that model was about 0.2 of a basis point. That's 130 times better than PayPal. So there we think we're a leader in that area. So those are the things that we're providing to the money remittance companies. And they've come to us because of ATM Cash and said, can you do this for us? And that's why we're now offering this wire cash opportunity. So the next step for us is is the market opportunity. Well, approximately $100 billion is moved from the U.S. abroad. You're probably familiar with Zoom. They represent approximately 3% of the market, and they're growing about 90% a year. They serve 30 countries. What we're doing is we're saying to these various money remittance companies, we'll give you either a white label solution, which will split the revenue with you, we'll do some marketing for you, and we can help you there. Or in our wire cash place, which is what we've already launching now, they can now use that to get additional revenue, significant brand exposure, and we're splitting the revenue with them, and we also can sell the placement, preferred placement, to generate additional revenue for ourselves. Where we're at now is we have the entire system built. We're ready to launch this. We now have agreements with 4 companies where we can provide distribution to over 50 countries. We hope in the next couple of months to get that to 150 countries. Within those 50 countries, we provide service to Russia, China, and Ukraine, which Zoom does not, and those are huge markets. But we'll be able to hopefully provide another 100 countries before this is done in the next few months. Lastly, we're looking to raise money for this. We're looking to raise $4 million approximately just to do market acquisition, doing cost of CPA campaigns and similar. And who are we? We are, for example, my CTO is, when he was 15, he was asked by the State of Israel to represent them as a developer at the European Union as their wonder kid. Also on our team as an advisor is David Montague, who I've been working with now for 6 years. He was the head of fraud at CyberSource. I also work with Kevin Mitnick. We've been working with him for 6 years or so. His expertise is more in hacking and social engineering. And then also we work with Ezra Levine as our attorney. I've been working with him for 6 years or so. And his background is, as he likes to say, he wrote the money remittance laws in approximately half the states in the United States. So that's what we're offering right now, and we think that this is going to be a very disruptive financial platform within the area of money remittance.
Cool. Thanks so much. Sure. Questions? Start.
What's your plan to get volume? Is it just a consumer portal where I go to the website and try to find it, or are you partnering with businesses, or are you partnering with small banks?
Well, first of all, we already have the position for the key search terms like send money online, transfer money, etc. For example, we were for ATM Cash, we were #1 for send money online for 3+ years. So we already have existing traffic coming to our site. We think we can bump that up to considerably more than when we were before, but we're about 1 million visitors a year. In addition, we're going to use the money that we're going to raise to do CPA campaigns. Plus, all of the companies that we're bringing online, which represent 400+ that have been waiting to go online, we bring their brand and their exposure, and we think they're going to funnel some more customers to us as well.
So could you explain the 400 companies that you're bringing online?
So, for example, you're familiar with Western Union, MoneyGram, and maybe Zoom. Other than that, I could begin to list to you various companies that have licenses, let's say, in 30 states that do distribution to 30 countries. So there are about 400 of those. And they have, as I explained during the pitch, they don't have the expertise to do it, to do any of those elements, the marketing, the payment platform, nor obviously the fraud. That's the most difficult thing.
Talk a little bit about the revenue model. It seems like there's 2 pieces. One where you're going to white label for some of these long tail providers. What are they willing to pay there? And then second, on your consumer-facing product, when folks come and they go, let's say they choose Zoom through you, what is Zoom remitting back to you?
Well, Zoom wouldn't come to us, but yes, all the other companies. Okay. Think of them as AmericanAirlines.com.
Okay.
So all of the other companies, we've already had discussions. We already have agreements with 4 companies. What we've told them is we want to split the revenue. Approximately, and it will change by market, it's about $5 plus 2% is the average markup. Some industries it's a little less, some it's lower. We're going to take approximately the way I positioned it to them is the greater of $5 or 1% of the transaction. Plus, on top of that, we're going to give them preferred placement. If they do the white label version, they also must provide us monthly minimums, and they have to create their own traffic.
Cool. Feedback? Start. Sunil.
Actually, a quick question.
Sure.
Can a consumer use your site to find the right provider and then next time go directly to them and avoid your fees?
That's the whole point. They can't go around this because the providers don't have the capabilities.
They're completely
to do this.
offline. Okay. So my feedback, I think it's an incredibly compelling pitch. You're admittedly a little later stage than some of the other companies we've seen, but it sounds really compelling. And comparison shopping is compelling, provided you don't get disintermediated to avoid the recurring. To block yourself from getting recurring commission fees. It sounds like you're not going to have that problem. And it sounds like you're bringing online a new set of remittance providers. So I'm really positive all around. No negative points.
I think the one thing is this is all about scale, right? So the question is, how do you get there? Are you spending too much on these keywords? I think the devils here are in the details and how you're going to scale. Clearly, you have a differentiation on the fraud side, which helps you get into these accounts and win them. It will be, can you create enough volume to make this a venture type of return business?
I think it was a very good pitch. I think that you actually, for the devil in the details, you actually kind of went into the details enough to give me comfort, especially with the background of your team and writing all these laws and having the fraud rates, which were really great, by the way, so congrats on that. I would think if there was a way to continue the partner strategy, to just pump volume in it, then you don't have to do as much CPA. If you have other people winning their own customers just organically. I don't know if this is possible for you, but I would actually suggest potentially incorporating offshore. If that was in a legal structure and providing services that are legal offshore. It may not be legal to provide onshore, like for offshore gambling and everything. That's possible, as long as it's legal.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. You know what I mean? Because they're just a source of a ton of volume.
Right.
Not necessarily, and maybe you don't move it, to the United States, so you make sure you stay completely legal. But just partners like that online. There was another company that's managed partner with universities. So for foreign students coming to you at United States universities, we're transferring huge amounts of money overseas. And so just getting one university was a source of just millions of dollars of volume that you could get just by lighting it up.
I think it's a really good pitch, and I think you covered a lot of ground. One question I have is, the success of the model is predicated on the fact that there has to be a lot of fragmentation in the remittance industry, which was true in the offline world, but in an online, it's not obvious to me that fragmentation will continue. I think there will be increasingly winner-take-all sort of models behind. So that's a key question in terms of how do you survive in that kind of environment. And two, just around your acquisition and how do acquisition costs look like with CPA, and because it's very competitive for those keywords. So, but I think it's very interesting.
Cool. Thanks so much. The next company we have is NetOrbis. Rahul Uppa.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rahul, and I'm with NetOrbis, which we believe is the ultimate collaboration platform. Let me start by asking a couple of questions. How many of you are here on LinkedIn? There we go. Now let me ask, how many of you believe that your companies, your organizations actually benefit because of your presence on LinkedIn? Well, I mean, I would have expected. Yeah, right, exactly. Typically, what I've seen is most of the people I've spoken to, the ratio is very, very less, right? I mean, most of the people out there on LinkedIn are really trying to market themselves, and it does not really help out the company. So that's one element. Number two element that I've seen, and specifically based on our research, it has been that there isn't a seamless collaboration platform that is available for organizations today. What that means is a seamless platform to share information internally with your colleagues, as well as externally with your customers, vendors, partners, and maybe even publicly with the world overall. And that's exactly where NetOrbis comes in. NetOrbis is a platform wherein you can seamlessly exchange documents and information, as I said, not only internally but also externally. And you would see that there are a lot of social and there are a lot of intranet and a lot of internal platforms available, right? What's the difference out here? The key difference is that we actually provide a reason for employees to be engaged on this. Most of the platforms fail because of employee adoption, but out here we have a reason for employees to be engaged because this platform not only markets them internally but also externally. And this is for the first time that actually the companies can leverage the brand power of each and every employee so that it can help their company's own marketing ability as well. So we've been around for a couple of years in development. We launched our free version last year. We got a few thousand users. 20% of those are actually company accounts, and now we are launching our enterprise version. The market's obviously huge. It's growing, and I think we have a compelling proposition there. In terms of team, I have been focused on this for the last 2 years. I have more than 13 years of business and technology experience. I've worked with companies like IBM, UBS, Grant Thornton. I have a technology director who has more than 10 years of technology experience. I have someone who's advising us who is actually working here with one of the top 2 enterprise companies out here in the Bay Area and advising us on the go-to-market strategy. So if nothing else, remember NetOrbis is the ultimate collaboration and marketing platform, and we hope to see you on NetOrbis.
Questions?
So it was not clear to me how you're driving engagement, how you're making the brand how you are enabling the brand building. It was not clear to me.
Sure. So if you look at any platform, right, any corporate platform, those are all internally focused. But this is the platform which we have designed in such a way which is not only just internally focused but also externally focused. So for example, if you have your company, let's say Nexus is on NetOrbis. So the way it would be is that you would actually point something like collaboration.nexus.com to this particular server, right? And this is then your application. Ankur Jain is on Nexus, and his public profile is actually indexed by Google as well. So anytime Ankur is engaged, he knows that he's actually marketing himself. And we know that people want to market themselves if you look at the way people are marketing themselves on LinkedIn. So that's, and now if you look at it, for Nexus, it's not just Nexus's own website that is marketing, it's actually all the profiles of all these employees that Nexus has, which is actually driving traffic back to their site.
So I think maybe where I'm slightly confused is this going to be one of those things where employees are supposed to use it because the organization tells them they have to use it, or when employees want to use this? Because as you said with LinkedIn, most people have LinkedIn accounts because it's self-serving.
Yes.
Right? And so, I mean, you used to work at Grant Thornton, I used to work at KPMG. There is 17 million internal initiatives that no one ever wants to put the effort in.
Exactly.
So why would I want to use NetOrbis?
Right. So a couple of reasons, as I said. One, now when, let's say you were with KPMG or I was with Grant Thornton, anytime if I were to look at an intranet application, I mean, that's just not going to, what's there in for me, right? I mean, I need to post documents, why, right? It's not going to help me. But now I know that, okay, whatever I'm writing about myself is actually making me much more searchable. It's actually helping my brand equity. And in turn, that brand equity is helping the overall organization as well. So you actually have an incentive to be engaged on this platform.
Okay.
And the other thing I'll mention is that there are a lot of security features that we have built in. For example, tracking the documents, how they're being used, right? So that's a lot of analytics that we provide to the companies so that they know how the platform is being used and what are the employees actually accessing.
So unfortunately, we're out of question time, but feedback?
I'm still a little.
Question.
Okay. I still had a question, but first, are you asking the organizations to pay for this, and if so, per employee,
yes.
Or is this a free service?
No. So the free service has been around, which is basically netorbis.com, but the enterprise version is actually a single tenant hosted application for the organizations. So it is priced at a per user per month kind of a pricing.
Okay, that's helpful. I was a bit unclear. Sure. I think in terms of the pitch, based on some of the questions, you can probably see that we're still a little confused with the value prop on both sides, from the employee and the organization. So I think cleaning that up and just being real crisp in terms of what the value prop is and what the acceleration of clients coming on looks like and why they're using your service and their willingness to pay would help clear up some of that confusion.
Sure.
feedback. Rich?
I think kind of he said it right. When Ankur first said he was a little bit confused, I was relieved because I thought I was afraid I was the only one.
Right.
I think the beginning really made sense with the LinkedIn and the value proposition, but then really clearly defining how NetOrbis is kind of between that.
Sure.
One of the nice things about LinkedIn is it matches your normal psychology, right? Where you have a work phone and you have your personal phone.
Mm-hmm.
And people were given work laptops and they had their personal laptops.
Right.
So creating another social profile network meant for business made sense.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like an in-between.
Mm-hmm.
At least to me, it seems a little bit like in between where I'm using it to build my brand internally, but also marketing myself externally.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe I'm hoping to get poached or something. So I had a hard time figuring out kind of how you're going to split the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times if that's hard for consumers to understand really what it is, it can really hurt adoption. Unless, of course, my boss tells me I have to use that NetOrbis because
part of your bonuses.
Yeah, it's part of my bonus.
I think the problem statement you mentioned, I think, makes sense, and the fact that these platforms fail because of engagement or not a lot what's in it for them. But I think, again, your value proposition didn't come across, and I didn't really see what the strong value proposition is when you described it. So I think, again, have to make it more crisp or strengthen it if it's not there. And then second, I think your team, you want to relate it more to what you're doing and how does that team background relate to that, just so that you see, bring that out a little more.
Yeah, I agree. I'm still a little confused as to what it is, but I think one way to improve that is just to adopt the bar of if you were walking down Mission Street and you were just going to tell somebody, 5 seconds before they move, keep walking, how would you describe it to an average person on the street, and use that description as opposed to anything too high level or too fancy. And I find that feedback for a lot of seed stage companies really helpful. How would you actually convince your next door neighbor to join this in really simple language? And I think that would help us to understand as well.
Thank you so much. The next company we have is Globe. It's Jhaveri.
Hi everyone, my name is Jhaveri, founder of Globe. A little bit background about me. Been in telecom mobile industry for 13 years now. Worked for Motorola, T-Mobile, several companies on product side, sales side, and also developing mobile strategies. This is my third startup, first two failed. I think I'm okay right now. The third one. So a little bit, that's a little bit background on me. So Gloop is a video platform for enterprises to create 1 minute insightful videos and help enterprises from the process of from creation to consumption of these 1 minute videos internally and externally. It's a web-based and a mobile solution as well. So a little bit about our team. I have a very strong advisory board that's actively engaged. One of the advisors already here, Rajesh, he's advising us. And I have four other advisors that are actively working with me right now as a team. And then I have 2 full-time people and about 5 part-time people working with me to help work. So let's see where we are right now. We have, when I started last year, obviously I didn't have money to build the solution, so it's a 1 minute video, so let's start creating videos. So I have created about 400 videos so far, 80% paid by companies, enterprises. And so we said, okay, great, we know there's a demand, let's see who would watch these videos. So took 150 videos, put them on YouTube. Within 16 weeks, we got about 3 million views on them. So that was itself a validation of the content, how it was viewed and consumed. Some of the things that some of the people on these videos are actually, one of them is Guy Kawasaki. We did videos with him. I was introduced to him, presented the solution. We wanted to do the videos, did videos with him. Done videos with a couple of other authors and people in communication, publication industries. And I also have, I'm working very closely with 2 Fortune 500 companies who are in love with the solution and want to apply it immediately. So working with them, how to license it to them and how to build the solution. So that's where we are from current situation. And recently I was, Gloop was actually recently cited on Forbes and Huffington Post as well. Kari Anderson, columnist, she mentioned the value of 1 minute videos and how people can use it. given the times, short time span, and given everybody's using mobile these days more and more. A little bit about the business model that we're thinking, licensing model for enterprise, along with monthly subscription basis, and then also we're thinking a group VIP model where there's a content behind the paid wall specific to that people can subscribe to. So that's where that is grouped.
Question?
Are these videos, they're 1 minute videos?
Yep.
It has to be 1 minute.
Has to be.
And it's always
61, 60. Oh no, it doesn't have to be 60 seconds, can be less.
Okay.
It can be 61.
And it's just someone speaking?
It's an expert speaking, giving a tip, advice, or insightful, sharing insights.
Somebody else.
On any topic that they want, so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, any topic. So one of the key goal is that creating videos that don't die. Not talking about products, not talking about services. So, for example, Guy talked about how to get more social media followers. People watching that today will be watching 5 years, 6 years down the road. Same question that might be there. So videos, how long you can keep them on the shelf, the life of the video.
So rather than TED Talks, or TEDdy Talks.
TEDdy. That's a good one, actually. I like that.
And how do you scale that content from the Guy Kawasaki perspective? I mean, there's millions of folks within enterprises. Obviously, there's going to be a certain amount of folks that are going to garner more views. And so how do you do that without being a highly manual process?
Absolutely. So definitely right now, since I don't have the platform built, we have it designed. A company called IDM Design Firm, they actually sponsored to help build the design to me because they really like the idea, and so they're working with me. But from scalability perspective, it's actually really simple. Like one of the companies I'm working with, large enterprise, they have a lot of technicians out in the field, and they're like, we have close to 20,000 people in the field. We're going to enable them on mobile to get quick answers to things that they're working on, or even be more interactive. And that's one configuration. So people like experts, like Guy, I'm working with a large publication company that wants all their columnists to be on it. And basically they said, as part of you writing articles, posts, put some videos every week too, sharing insights where you're either somebody you've interviewed or from your own content or book.
So, last question, just for understanding: is this kind of like Vine, where there's editing and there's cuts, so you pack in more content, or is it just one take?
So it's one take. There's no cuts. So there's no cuts.
I have a question, but I think Sunil, you had a question.
What were the 3 million YouTube views? What were the most popular videos?
The most popular videos, so we had a series on job search, career growth. We had a bunch of experts, actually career coaches, that did videos on just simple tips. What do you have in your resume? Do you need a description or not? Simple things like that. So that got a lot of views. Then we had a bunch of other business consultants giving tips, and then a lot of entrepreneurial tips.
Cool. So, feedback? I'm here to move fast on that.
So I think it looks like a very cool platform, and I see use cases for it. But I'm not sure how you scale to be a big company. How much value can you capture from the solution for a customer, and how do you scale? But certainly, I think I see certain very key use cases which you can enable.
So to point to that also, sorry.
I think this actually sounds really cool. I'm going to have to obviously try it out. I don't know whether this is a consumer play or really your opportunity as enterprise play, where I was thinking about if you could enable some cuts, like the people in the field, like PG&E being like, this is how you disassemble this thing without killing yourself. And so they do that in your services, actually catalog and keep it internal. Because at a minute, you can pitch to enterprise that people actually watch these while they commute, versus, everyone's probably seen the Sheryl Sandberg TED Talk, that's like 2.5 hours or something.
Yep. My sense is this is more consumer. I think at the enterprise level, they're going to want to be able to go deeper. So you're either going to have to expand your platform because there's going to be certain topics that can't be explained in 60 seconds. So you're either going to have to expand it for the enterprise or go focus more on consumer. That's just kind of my gut.
I thought it was really interesting for the enterprise, and I agree with what Chris is saying, but the idea of bringing kind of Web 2.0 technologies or great consumer technologies behind a corporate firewall, or just behind the corporate border, I should say, not really firewall, like Yammer or something like that, it's really compelling, and the 1 minute constraint actually makes it so that somebody could dip in over lunch, try a couple things, and then if they do want to go deeper, I do think you should add extended functionality, but it could be really interesting as you get out there and try selling it to some enterprises.
Thank you. Round of applause for Blake. Next company we have is Simon.
Hi, I'm Nitin, and I'm CEO of Simon. So with Simon, we are building the world's largest marketplace for professional online education for 100 million professionals all around the world. And right now we are generating revenue. Imagine you're an engineer working in General Electric, and from your computer anywhere in the world you can access courses from MIT or Berkeley on accounting, on solid mechanics, marketing, on any subject, and on them you can work with 1,000 other engineers within General Electric. So that is amazing. Now the problem right now is this, that there's huge amount of professional education courses trapped within universities and within books. By bringing all these courses all at the same place and making them accessible to professionals and companies around the world, we can really transform the way people work, the way people work on new projects, the way people get new jobs, and the way people get promotions also. So that's what we are doing. So who we are, I'm a PhD in chemical engineering. I was one of the very early employees at Intermolecular, actually the third employee, and we went from 3 people to IPO. My CTO, Jan Larsson, he is a serial entrepreneur, and he had held senior positions in Nuance and OpenWeb. Our advisory board has professors from Stanford, the head of MIT at education, and also the ex-president of a large, the largest companies in US, Africa, and Asia, which could be in the range of 1 to 1.5 million. And in next couple of weeks, we will be launching more than 500 courses from the largest publishers and the largest universities, which will be channeled to 9,000 companies and their employees. Companies can subscribe to the courses for all of their employees, or they can buy bulk courses. The money generated is shared with the universities. And right now we are generating revenue, and our goal is to become the largest professional education marketplace in the world, and we are now in process of raising Series A funding. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Questions?
What are the biggest topics on the education marketplace right now that are being used?
What is the
biggest? Largest topics.
Topics. So, topics are broad. I can say is there's that one series of courses that we have launched that is aimed at the financial market. People are willing to pay from Africa $2,000 per enrollment. So it's the volume versus the volume and value. So what we are focused on the business courses and the professional education courses.
So there's a bunch of folks in this space, massive online courses, MIT courseware, free courses, a bunch of folks pursuing corporate and professional continuing education. When you go talk to some of these customers that you're talking to, are you competing? Are these RFPs, or is there some big unique advantage you have over the rest of the folks that they're willing to sign?
It's a unique advantage because companies like Coursera and edX, they are very much focused on highly regulated undergraduate level basic market with free courses. We are not focused on that. What we are focused on the business courses or the professional courses, and also converting the books into courses, and they could be anywhere in between $100 to $5,000. And companies like General Electric or Wells Fargo, they can make the entire library of courses from Berkeley or MIT accessible to their employees at the same time. So Coursera and TEDx are separate. We are focusing on the high value professional education market, which is expected to be more than 600 billion in the next couple of years.
So we're out of time on questions, but feedback?
So I think I see the value, and I see sort of also from the customer perspective how it makes sense. I'm concerned in terms of how fast can you scale. I think I see it's a very slow adoption process, so that would be my concern.
I think in the online education space right now, the whole space is experiencing an issue of adverse selection, because everybody has a different model, and so you can always get something out of one platform for something for free, and it's usually different than what the other person experimenting trying to get for free. So actually getting people to pay seems to be very difficult. It seems like you've had some success doing that. So I think in your pitch, you really need to help investors and anyone explain why. And it seems like you're having a success in emerging markets, and why that's happening with you versus the other ones. I see a lot of people use Coursera for certain free courses, and then so and so for free intro courses, and then a free trial at another site. So people are cobbling these things together, and one of the things I think is Coursera is actually trying to go for the accreditation, which is their attempt to basically stop people from picking all over the place, so you have to do it on our platform. So it's an interesting space, but it definitely is. People are very adept at not paying for stuff online. They can avoid it.
Individuals are.
Yeah, so I think tremendous market opportunity, a ton of folks going after it. Clearly you're playing it differently than other folks. At the end of the day, it's an execution play, and you've got to help us feel comfortable about that. So the best way to do that is give us a case study. I know you mentioned General Electric, but maybe mention somebody else and say, here's why they're using it, here's what they're using for it, here's the specific topics. They're willing to pay us $100 per seat per month, and we've rolled it out across 1,000 folks. We're moving into 10 more locations, et cetera, et cetera. That helps us get comfort around the execution.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. The same thing I was going to say. Just give us more specifics, more numbers, because you're in the lucky position of having them. Most startups at this stage don't. So I would really highlight those.
Thank you.
The next company we have is InfoAssembler. Karthik,
as an analyst at an investment bank, I had a huge issue making quick, actionable investment insights. My search process started off with searching various private databases like Capital IQ and Blumberg, and then trying different keyword combinations on Google to find the right media articles, industry journals, government filings, blogs, and other sources of public information. After spotting these sources of information, connecting the dots between these private structured datasets and public unstructured datasets was a painstaking process. On an average, it takes an analyst 60 work hours and over a week to come out with a good, actionable investment research report. We at InfoAssembly help solve this painstaking process with an intelligent search and analysis platform, which makes investment research 5 times faster. We don't intend to replace the Capital IQs or the Bloombergs. We just supplement them to help make better investment research decisions by providing the right public structured datasets, both qualitative and quantitative, and easy access to hard to find data sources. By using the right funnels to categorize the data and then connecting the dots between them to form a story, we at InfoAssembly improve the productivity, reduce the costs, and facilitate investment epiphanies. With an addressable market size of $1.5 billion, we provide enterprise licenses at $6,000 a year per firm, helping firms save 48 analyst hours per analyst per week. On an average, if firms spend $6,000 a year per firm, firms end up saving up to $64,000 a year. Our team consists of ex-investment bankers, traders, and financial consultants from top-tier firms of the likes of PIMCO and Deutsche Bank, with work experience across multiple geographies like London, Bombay, Singapore, and California. Moreover, we have a strong trading and quantitative background, with all 4 founders hailing from the Indian Institutes of Technology. We've just come out with a first level prototype, and we've already talked to 3 financial firms in Arkansas who are ready to pilot our MVP as soon as it's rolled out by end of this month. Our big vision is to extend the search and analysis platform across multiple sectors. Every sector has a few key aspects based on which the investment research is done. If we can customize and categorize these funnels through which the data is sifted, depending upon the aspects which are relevant to that particular sector, one can expand this particular search and analysis platform, helping make investment research faster in other sectors too, like healthcare, academia, CPG, and retail. We're currently looking to raise $500,000 to scale our technology infrastructure and expand our team. I'm Karthik from Info Assembly, and I look forward to meeting you.
Are you trying to replace FactSet and Capital IQ, or is it completely separate from that?
It's completely separate. I can make it clear, since that we have private data sets, and we try to also, analyze the public data sets. All the government filings, media articles, industry journals, and various other forms of publication.
So can you give us your ideal use case? Just some examples. How would I use this? Like, what's your ideal customer?
So the ideal customer is, it could be anyone from an investment bank to a hedge fund trader.
So am I sitting with this open next to Blumberg?
Yeah, I open next to Blumberg. And in Blumberg,
like what am I getting from Info Assembly that's added?
Yeah. So first thing is searching. We're trying to do an analysis of the media sector in the US, like for example. So you type there, like media in the US, very simple. You don't even need to know the questions that you need to ask. You need to understand that particular sector right now. Automatically, all the information that's publicly available is categorized into different facets and funnels. So this we do by using natural language processing and machine learning algorithms, and then find out the context behind different articles and different sources of information, and then based on a predefined bunch of categories and sets, which basically, since all of us are from the backgrounds, we kind of know what exactly different people look for, and then we make them into those right different funnels, and then it makes things really, really fast.
Given the level of automation that you're implying, does it ever make mistakes? To me, it seems like the wrong number could be really expensive for your customers.
We give them access to the articles and the source of information. We don't completely extract and give them only the number. So they know the information from where it's going from. So even if they're reading an article on Forbes, we give them access to the article on Forbes. We don't take the number and give them separately. So our platform is not the one that's making a mistake.
In the pricing, is that come from discussions with customers and through customer development, or is that just kind of where you're starting in terms of pricing because it feels right?
We actually talked to 3 financial firms, and we validated the pricing point, and they're very happy with it.
Then maybe you're not charging enough.
We talked to...
If you talked to them, they gave you the price, and they were very happy with it.
I'm not saying that. It's like probably different customer segments require different pricing ranges. Probably when you try, if you go to a hedge fund manager, probably you'll have to charge much more. When you talk to a small scale customer, small scale investment bank, or boutique investment bank, etc., there you'll have to offer low prices. What we're doing is we're coming out with different modules, different data modules. Like because different kinds of investment research is done. We can do a legal research. Now all the company filings scanned, and then a legal research, a legal background check is done. Now then you have like a management module which basically finds out all the information about the company, the management, and then tries to find out the linkages between them. So various additional data modules through which we'll be charging, and it's specific to investment professionals for now.
Feedback?
I thought it was an extremely clear pitch. That was really good, and the underlying product, I'm still a little unclear as to whether or not you're going to become another data source in and of yourself, so folks pay for Capital IQ and you'll be the Capital IQ of public data, or whether you're a layer on top of these sources, and it'll depend on which subscriptions you have. But that just didn't come out super clear over the course of the pitch. But other than that, it seems like a really valuable tool. It seems like your customers are going to have a high willingness to pay, and I agree with Richard that you probably have a lot more headroom on pricing, and it may not be a per firm site-wide license. Maybe there's different models you can experiment with to extract a little more of the value or more granularly price your product.
You know, the thing about Bloomberg is everyone complains about the price.
Exactly.
And they still pay it.
I think the team has really strong background. I think it's very relevant to what you're doing. I think the value prop, it didn't come across clearly. Is it incremental, or is it a standalone long-term business by itself, or is it something that gets folded into something like Bloomberg, or how big does it get? I think that's something we're not very clear.
Yeah, I think the value prop has to be more than just aggregating public data. There has to be some sort of proprietary element to it to make it interesting. And then I think this is one where it'd be nice to see the product, because my imagination isn't great here, and so you probably are at a disadvantage just because we can't see the product.
So some feedback for your time management is the investor that's going to invest in this is going to be someone that's familiar with the space. So starting with some of the, this is what Bloomberg does, this is what Bloomberg and Capital IQ don't do, who instantly understands, like, oh, there's real opportunity here, will help you filter investors that you talk to, just certain ones that don't have any background in this space. You're going to say, that sounds great. Doesn't Bloomberg do that, right? So, that was, I thought, the one thing that your pitch was missing, was you said this is additive to Bloomberg and Capital IQ, but I didn't understand what you were doing that they weren't doing. I know you were pulling in information, they're pulling in information, right? So, just a great use case on this company, this stock, this information was missed, except info assembly added.
The next company we have is Instabug. Muataz from Instabug.
Hi everyone. My name is Ankur from Instabug, and I'm the founder of Instabug. It's pretty ironic that mobile app developers are building apps for their users, yet they don't provide them with a decent and convenient way to report bugs and say the feedback about the apps. So imagine for a second that you're using your smartphone, using your favorite app. Suddenly something is buggy with it, so you want to report a bug, or even say a feedback about this app, or suggest a new feature. Imagine the long, hectic process you have to go through, starting by taking a screenshot of this app, and then editing it on your phone, and then emailing it to the developer. If you are successful in finding his email, so we'll probably be posting it on his Twitter. But this isn't the case anymore. Today, we're introducing Instabug. Instabug allows you to talk to the developer, report bugs, and say your feedback by just shaking your device. So whenever you're using your phone or your iPad and you just want to send your feedback, you just shake the device. Capture a screenshot that you can easily draw whatever you want on it to explain, so probably there's a bug here. You maybe want to change the color. And we even allow you to add text. So you write whatever you want. By pressing send, this feedback is sent automatically to the developer, and you can continue using the app. We allow you to send feedback from the app itself by just shaking the device. But this isn't everything for the developer. The developer doesn't get the comment and the screenshot only. He gets lots of important details. User connectivity, user location, the battery, the states, the RAM, every single detail. One detail that we really capture is the console log, which tells the developer exactly what the user did from the moment of opening the app until sending this bug or reporting it. So it gives them insight to report, to trace these bugs efficiently. We started working in February, and we launched this product in mid-April. Then we went to win the MIT Business Plan competition by the end of April 2013, and then we were chosen to participate in the Mobile Beat on the 10th of June, and this is when we launched our public beta. Since then, it was on the 10th of June, since then we had over 700 developers using our services. They're using it from over 30 different countries. Our team is, we're a group of four enthusiastic fresh grads. We're working from Egypt. We have experience in the field. Muataz used to work at Microsoft as a software engineer in testing. So that's it. If you need to, and we have demos on our iPads and iPhone. If you need to shake any device, just tell us. Okay.
What do you think about your potential pricing model? How are you going to charge developers for this?
Right now we're in the public beta, so we are offering all our features for free. We'll probably be launching our full version in a couple of months. We'll have the regular SaaS model of having the 3 to 4 tires with the free model and the contact us for enterprises. And it's the regular SaaS model of probably free, 10, 50, and the contact us.
But the tiers will be based on what exactly?
We have many parameters, the number of bugs reported, the number of team members. We have other features that we didn't mention, integration with bug tracking tools, customization of the feedback form, change the colors, have it for white label. So we have different parameters. We're testing it right now with people.
Does the user have to shake the device to send data back to the developer, or is he capturing it in real time regardless of any end user shaking the device?
It's user initiated, so he has to shake it.
Okay.
It will be data redundant to have all this data sent automatically.
So there's no possibility for crash analytics then right now, because it would have to be in app and it would have to be a bug.
We're thinking of that. There's many competition in this field, crash analytics and criticism.
Right. Yeah.
We're thinking of the user initiated, not the device initiated. But we have the technology developed, and we're considering the option of implementing it.
What happens if it crashes though, and then I'm out of the program?
That's exactly what we mentioned. We're focusing on the user initiated. So whenever you are frustrated with a bug or with a feedback and you want to send it, that's what we come in. On the other side, whenever the device crashes and it's initiated automatically, that's criticism and crash.
How do you expand? What's your next step?
Actually, our next step, as we mentioned, we'll be launching in the next few months our full version. We will have in the pricing model. Probably will be serving the live apps, including two-way communication between developers and users.
Quick question I have is, so what type of bugs have you seen being reported? Are these like actual UI bugs or just bad UI issues?
We have all types of bugs. We have UI, there is fields that are not well aligned. We had some buttons that are not working. In every kind of bugs, yeah. Go.
Feedback?
So, this is classic venture capitalist advice, but I think you're aiming too small. I think of this thing as like raising your hand. And so if you got an Android device, you could actually do a system-wide, my guess is you could actually make this system-wide. And it could be a universal uploading situation, so that whether I'm in a device or whether I have a photo or I want to do anything and share it, I just shake my device, it goes up, and you have a universal set of features that allow me to share it, for example, right? Well, you take a whole bunch of data, I might only want to share the photo, but then also if I'm using an app or I'm doing anything right, then I don't have to go through all the app sharing mechanics. So if I'm sharing this way, then customers would pay you to have access to all the additional information that was going on. You could actually, this is kind of a boil the ocean. It's classic, and it could be totally terrible advice, but I hate in every single app, the buttons are different. Some of them don't load in my contact book. Some of them don't do this. Some of them do this. I have to do all sorts of drawing, all this stuff. But I mean, I thought of that when you were saying that you had different colored drawing, which I really wouldn't think a user would put in that much time to change the color of their pen on their stuff. But a person would if they were sharing a photo, for example.
Yeah, I think you sounds like a very smart team, and this feels like a feature. I'm sure there's 100 other things you guys have thought of that you want to implement. So share that vision for us, because it helps us understand how big of an outcome this can be and where you're headed. So you gave us kind of the snapshot. Let's see the video of how this plays out and how you're thinking about that. That would be helpful.
I thought it was a really clear pitch, really easy to understand. Definitely something that every app should have. But I worry about long term, maybe within 12 months when another entrepreneurial team finds out what you're doing and you're getting traction, how hard would it be for them to build it? And my sense is, like you said, you started in February, a few months and someone else could build it too. So think a little bit about what kind of moats you could erect around your business. It's probably not patents or anything like that, but maybe there's some winner-take-all dynamics you can introduce by kind of sharing the data between services. I'm not sure if that's actually possible, but other ways where by virtue of you being around longer than them, you're going to have a more advantage in terms of data or users or something else that's sticky.
And I'll make a plug. I have no investment in this company. I just use it a lot. It's called Cloud App. I'll give it a plug for everybody. When you copy things and you take a screenshot, it instantly copies a link to your clipboard, and then you can just press paste and share it any place, and they have to keep it online. So it's just one of those universal things you install on your computer or on your Mac, and I use it constantly. And
I can vouch for that. It's awesome, man. It's awesome.
So I think it's a very neat solution. I will second a couple of comments. So one, I think my question about where do you expand actually was in terms of vision and offering, and so you'll have to expand that. Second, the long tail on the mobile developers, they're not known to be big payers. So how do you monetize? Well, you have to break into enterprise to be able to monetize. And I think that's another key piece here.
Thank you. The next company we have is Artfan. Rahul Agrawal.
Thank you for having me here. I'm Rahul Agrawal, the CEO and co-founder of Arctan. We are a Silicon Valley-based, profitable, excuse me, a long line, profitable bootstrap startup. We do enterprise SaaS. Our customers use us to monetize social conversation. So just to give you a sense of what we do, how many here are horse racing fans? Just a few. But anyways, NBC Sports is one of our customers, and they used us for Kentucky Derby. The problem that they are trying to solve is there is social conversation on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on blogs, pretty much on all channels. So how do they engage their fans? So they used us to build a digital holistic experience on the web, on mobile, on broadcast, on their video streaming player, where the fans could go, they could participate in the conversation, they could see the most relevant, engaging content from pretty much the bloggers, the experts, what's the latest fashion, what horses are trending, what jockeys people are talking about. So very curated, beautifully visualized conversation which the fans can see, engage with in a personalized manner. Another customer is Turner, using us on over 30 shows, Dallas being one of them. Again, the fans can go to the websites, the mobile apps, participate in the conversation, and engage with fans, and so on. A little bit more about our customer base. We have pretty much the good footprint in media and entertainment with CBS, ABC. I mentioned NBC, the top broadcast networks. Cable, we have A&E, True TV, TNT, TBS, a bunch of others. Music, we have all the 3 large music companies. Sports, we have CBS Sports, Comcast, NBC Sports. We see an explosive opportunity in retail and consumer. One of the reasons for us to seek a venture round. What do our customers get out of this? They're seeing increased traffic, time spent on site, engagement, which all translates into advertising revenue, brand loyalty, TV ratings, merchandise revenue. Also, a lot of data which they are gathering through us leads them to garner better insights about their customer base, about the audience, capture that data for purposes of things like email marketing, reaching out to their audience. And our vision is really to build very holistic solutions across web, mobile, and TV, and give brands more and more tools to monetize social conversation. We don't look at this as a niche play. We look at this as a very, really solving the difficult problems in a very deep manner. We have 100% year-over-year revenue growth, 80% gross margins. The model is SaaS, recurring revenue based, and the little bit about the team. I myself was at Juniper for a number of years, led R&D across the board. Allows me to solve some of the more difficult technology problems we are solving. Co-founder, the other co-founder was at Motorola, Mobility, bunch of other web startups before that. We have a pretty strong sales and marketing team, very seasoned, particularly in the media space. And we see an explosive opportunity, particularly with us expanding into consumer and retail brands. Microsoft is a recent customer of ours. So that leads us to seek our first round. We don't have any institutional investment, actually no investment so far. So looking at raising $1 to $2 million to accelerate penetration and build new products. Thank you.
Are you guys cash flow positive now?
Yes.
Healthily?
Sorry?
Like easily? I'm just trying to get an assessment. You have big customers. So I'm trying to get an assessment of, if you got, 5 times the TNTs, ABCs, Comcast, and Turners, would this be a very big opportunity, or are they paying you so little that?
So it's a huge opportunity. So we are cash flow positive easily, but we are investing everything back into the business.
So you mentioned you want to go into retail, consumer, what's the hook there? What's the use case you're targeting?
So one of our customers, for example, is Sonos. It's a company which builds music speakers. So what's happening is, pretty much every brand needs to participate in the social interactive web. That means different things to different people. For Sonos, it means how do you take the social conversation, say the product reviews that people are writing about their products and saying great things with positive sentiment, for example, and showcase that on their site. Another customer is Warner Music. So how do you bring conversation about the artists back on their site? There's really different problems almost for different brands, but the basic theme is the same.
What's the form factor that consumers normally interact with this product?
Everything. It's I guess you mean the platforms, right? So it's traditional web, iPads, Android, mobile, pretty much any mobile device. We also take the conversation to TV. There's also a business intelligence aspect to it.
So I would have my laptop open with the browser that's pointed to TNT.com, or would it be to your destination site?
It really depends. So you might have your iPad open when you're watching the Super Bowl and interact with it that way. So the Kentucky Derby example is more of you're watching the Derby with your iPad. The Dallas example is you're a Dallas fan, and even when the show is not on, you want to interact with the audience and the stars, and you go to TNT.com or TNTdrama.com anytime.
And this is with an app that's called ArtTank, or it's called Dallas Cowboys?
It's a good point. So that should have been clearer in the pitch. White labeled, completely powering the software which the brands use on their sites and their apps.
Feedback?
I think that last comment was probably the biggest one. I was a little unsure whether you were white label or whether you were on their sites powering it, at the bottom powered by ArtTank, or whether they were pushing out their own apps. Very interesting. Everyone needs this. There's been a few other players in the space that have had difficulty really landing marquee clients, but you've landed some marquee clients, so congratulations on that.
Congratulations. I think you've got an impressive set of clients, and I can see the value. My key question is there are a bunch of other players in this space and all targeting different niches, different use cases, different verticals, so how do you scale beyond a certain size? But that's very interesting.
I think the number one use case I heard for one of the competitors who got acquired in this space was, when you log in with Facebook, if you log in Facebook on the Dallas Cowboys app, you might not want to be speaking with all your Facebook friends. You might want to be speaking with other Dallas Cowboy fans who you're not friends with on Facebook, so that all of these media properties need to have a solution to support and cultivate their own social curation, and that Facebook will be unable to do that for them.
Pretty clear pitch. There were a few questions you asked that clarified I had. You mentioned something about ad, monetizing on the ads. Okay, you want to expand a bit on that?
That's a great question. So the different monetization models for the brands, for the enterprises, right? Different problems for different ones. For the television guys, it's really a lot about if I am, say, CBS, and there's Super Bowl going on, I can build a sponsored experience, digital experience, where I'll drive traffic on CBS.com, which is sponsored by, say, State Farm. So that's a sponsorship model, because all the brands want to participate in the advertising related to social media. The second is, if I am Dallas or TNTdrama.com, I have ads already on my site. Can I make them targeted? Can I drive time spent on my site and hence drive my advertising revenue? Can I drive more traffic? So it's really along those lines. Does that answer it?
Thanks so much. That was our time. I guess everyone is tired. I can see the faces. The last company for the day is Allset. Gadi from Allset.
So I figured I can either pitch or I can start a bid for who's willing to offer me the most money for not pitching and letting you guys go home. $100,000 is where we start. Jose.
Minus $699.
Well, $1,000 for 4 minutes, not bad actually. Hey everybody, I'm Gadi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Allset. One of the things that I've done uniquely in the last decade is I've traveled 2.1 million miles and stayed in hotels more than 1,000 nights. Those of you who travel a lot know how much fun that is, and that actually brings us to the problem that Allset is addressing. Travel booking sucks. It's horrible if you're a frequent traveler and you're trying to book travel because of a number of things. One, it takes a long time. So on average, a frequent traveler will take about 45 minutes if they already know where they're going to complete a booking. That is a huge time sink if you're trying to book travel. The problem, on the other hand, for the online travel agents is that 80% of the people who actually come onto the site and start a booking with the intent to complete it leave in the middle of the process. It's a very broken process, and if I were able to show you how it looks on mobile devices, which makes the problem even more extreme, you would see why people are leaving the process in the middle. It is really bad. It's about a 10-screen experience to complete that booking. There's a huge problem with those areas, and Allset is here to fix that. So Allset is a virtual travel agent that actually uses big data analytics to categorize all of the attributes of different hotels and other travel areas. We started with hotels for a number of key reasons. Mainly, that's where the money is in travel. So we've categorized more than 100,000 hotels based on the unstructured data that's out there about them. So you can actually come and say, well, my preferences are I really want to go and stay in a hotel that has a swimming pool where I can swim. There's no way for you to find that information unless you start reading hundreds of TripAdvisor's reviews out there today. Once we learned your preferences, in addition to the actual attributes of the hotels, we can do the matching process and enable you to complete these bookings with one click. One of the things that we've launched, that we've learned over the last couple of months since we launched our limited beta, is the biggest problem in travel is not really the technology, it's how to get to users. There are large players in this market like Expedia and Priceline that are spending a lot on advertising, so we had to come up with a model to completely circumvent the need for people to search for travel. And we started partnering and going out with a B2B2C model with different virtual agent and smart calendar apps. So apps like Easily, Tempo, Friday, and there's a lot of them out there. And essentially we're enabling you to automatically understand that a person is going to travel and proactively offer travel options to them based on their profile. So you put a meeting invite on your calendar that says you need to be in New York next week. Suddenly you get a pop-up within the app that says, here are 3 hotels that meet your criteria. Do you want to book them? And that enables us with one click to close the whole process. We have a patent on both the process, and then we're in the middle of filing the patent on the technology. Team is very strong. Amin here is the CTO. He was with Travelocity for 5 years and has experience at TellMe and a lot of work with unstructured data analytics. I've already mentioned my travel background, but I've also had 2 exits with 2 startups, $250 million with Variant and $200 million at Merced, where I ran business development. We are currently raising our seed round, or started raising our seed round. We are going to launch our open beta at the end of the month and announce 2 partnerships around that.
Is it going to be called Allset?
It's Allset, because you're all set with us.
Oh. Is that your last name too?
No, that's just the name of the company. No, we did actually learn though that there is a TV reporter in Greenland whose last name is Allset. She actually had the name on Facebook.
Perfect. Great. Thanks so much. Question?
I mean, we talked before, and as a traveler, my issue is, okay, because I travel so much, I have loyalty programs going on with a lot of hotels and airlines, and that's who I want to fly with. Okay, so let's say if I'm flying with United, my problem with United is they keep changing the fares. So, and it's not that they keep going up, it's more like today it may be high, tomorrow may be low, and then it may be high again. That's where I'm spending most of my time to get the cheapest rate. Otherwise, I could, do the whole transaction in 5 minutes, not 45 minutes. So does your technology address some of those things?
So 2 things around that. One, there's a reason we didn't start with flights, because a lot of those considerations don't actually exist with hotels. to one of our advisors. So we have an advisory board of very experienced travel people. One of the advisors is called Tom Romery. He started a company called Yapta that addresses exactly the problem that you raised. So there's a company that solved that problem already. You can book it once, and they enable you to actually redeem money if the same flight is available for a lesser cost. So the problem that you're raising is already solved. We are trying to take a different approach to that.
I think that the travel space is really crowded, right? And it's hard to get noticed, and a lot of people spend a lot of money, and a lot of times I think you're absolutely right. The weird thing is people start with a flight search. Same thing when people travel, they look for cheap flights, and they don't necessarily look for cheap hotels, but the bulk of the profits of the industry and the bulk of your expense of a trip is the hotel. So in order to make this, I haven't seen it, but it has to just be an amazing site, because it's not just booking. It's, the hotel is what distinguishes itself. Right? There's no Southwest of hotels, because it would all be next to the highway. Like, no one would want to stay there.
Yeah.
So one question: you go to market. I mean, I see your plans for the calendar house, but it didn't seem enough. What else are you? I mean, how do you scale and how do you get distribution?
So there's three aspects to the go-to-market. I just touched on one of them, but one is we actually do have our own site, and we have people come to that site. We have since we launched limited beta, we opened it up to about 400 users, and we're getting good traction from them. Two is those virtual agent apps. Right now they have about 3.1 million users, growing at 30% month over month. So it's a lot of growth and a lot of access to these captive users. And the third is we've actually already been approached by a number of OTAs that are really trying to simplify the whole process on their site and want to embed us into their site. So we have a B2C, B2B2C, and a B2B distribution model around this. We'll announce the first OTA partnership at the end of this month as well.
Cool. Feedback?
I look forward to using this. I think it would make sense if it was truly all set. I think that, the problem with travel is that people will just approach it so differently. So I'm just gonna have to experience the product to see how holistic it is.
No major feedback. I do agree there's a lot of folks that enter the travel industry. It's nice to know that you've got some veterans. That's really helpful, so you don't make so many initial mistakes, but it's just going to come down to playing with the product and then some of the skills that you acquired in your previous company.
Yeah, I think the user experience would be extremely key, and also I think the second is because the acquisition costs are so high in this space, so I think our distribution channels would be very important.
Great. And I do request all the contestants to pick up their feedback form. I'd like to see what everyone has to say, and also see your scores.
So I'll be just announce the winners. It'll take us a couple of minutes. Again, I want to thank all the volunteers who made today's event happen. We had Lana on the timer. We had Svetlana and Ravi on the ballots. And thanks for our moderator. Please give a big hand to the team. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. Again, I've mentioned there are upcoming events. One on Thursday, which is a metro session with an entrepreneur who's built and sold a gaming company, and then we have the event on September 24th, which is around how to be a parallel entrepreneur and how to do a lot of things in your life. And you should see that on the TiE website in about a week. So I look forward to seeing you at that event. And I'll just let Jinal announce the winners in just a minute or so.
And how about a nice round of applause for Ankur for setting us up here. If you enjoyed the event, TiE does put on a lot of events, not just the ones that Ankur mentioned. And the annual membership for TiE is $150 a year, so that's like a latte a day or some ridiculously low amount for attending these events. And membership actually includes admission to the vast majority of our events. There are a few premium events which have additional costs, like our conference and so on. But for $150 a year, you can have access to great events like this one, and we certainly hope to see you there. So with that, let me hand it back to you to announce them.
Excited? So, first winner for today is Wirecash Forex Express. Second is ArtCAN. Third one is Info Assembly. Thanks so much for everyone.